Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Jasmine, and welcome back to my channel. For any of you who might be new here, I have been on a GLP-1 weight loss journey since January 1st of 2024. I lost over 100 pounds the past year, and today I just wanted to share 7 things that I have learned on this GLP-1 journey thus far. Before we get into that though, I did just want to say Happy New Year's. I hope you are all doing well, and I also just wanted to say I noticed since my last video we have had an influx of new subscribers here, and we are almost to 700. So I first of all just want to say thank you to everyone who has recently joined the family, and I'm happy you're here. So on January 1st of 2024, I had made a New Year's resolution. I wanted to lose 100 pounds in a year, and I've had that same New Year's resolution every year for the past several years, and this past year I finally accomplished that, and I did it with the use of a GLP-1 medication, tirzepatide, which for those who may not know, it's basically the generic version of Mounjaro or Zepbound. I feel like the first of the year is kind of a time when a lot of people set out to accomplish different goals, and a lot of people set out to start their weight loss journeys, and it's a wonderful day to start on, the first of the year. And so yeah, I just wanted to come on today and just share some things that I've learned over the course of the past year. So I have my list on my phone here, and that's what I'll be referencing. But for number 1, the first thing I learned is that the shots do not hurt. Before I ever started a GLP-1 medication, my mom had actually started it first and told me that I should try it, and I just remember thinking in my mind, like, it was really new at the time. It had just kind of started being a thing, and I was honestly scared of the idea of having to inject myself with anything. It sounds dumb to say I'm afraid of needles, because obviously I have like tattoos and stuff, but genuinely, like, I don't like watching my skin be pierced with a needle. So the thought of piercing my own skin with a needle just kind of gave me the ick. So that was kind of a major turnoff for me, and honestly a reason I was hesitant to even try it for a while. But I will say I use the compounded version, so I have to draw up the medicine in an insulin syringe, and those needles are super tiny and they honestly do not hurt. I can't speak on the pens because I know those have a different mechanism, and so I think those can be a little bit more painful, but I don't know because I haven't tried it myself. I will say, so I had a baby in September of 2023, and I did have a C-section, and part of the aftermath of my C-section is I did have a lot of numbness, and I still do. I have a lot of areas that are honestly just numb, like in my lower abdomen. I cannot feel them from just being cut open. I guess the nerves got messed up. But so pro tip, if you too have C-section numbness in your lower abdomen, that's a great place to inject, because I don't feel it at all. And so that is where I've been injecting for this entire time, just alternating, you know, obviously. But yeah, other than that though, I genuinely don't think it would hurt anywhere else on the body because the needles are just super tiny. So do not let that scare you if that's something you're nervous about. The second thing that I learned, I did not know that I even had food noise until it was gone. Like, honestly, I didn't even know there was a term for it until I started my medication and started watching other people's stories and things, and people would talk about the food noise. And like, I tell you, the first week that I was on the medication and I just noticed that I wasn't constantly thinking about food and what is my next meal, what's my next snack, oh, this sounds good, like that all went away right away for me. And it was just like a crazy experience, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially if you've been overweight for a long time or maybe most of your life or your whole life. I think struggling with the food noise is a huge thing. I feel like that's been the biggest thing that has helped me from this medication overall, is that it has pretty much, at first it completely took away the food noise. I will say it does come back, like as your body adjusts to whatever dose you're on and kind of gets used to it, it does come back a little bit, but definitely not to the full extent that it was when I was not on any medication. So yeah, that has definitely been a game changer for me. So for number 3, you will drop weight quickly in the beginning and then it will slow down, and that is okay and that is normal. And the first month I was on tirzepatide, I lost 26 pounds. Now, mind you, I started my journey at 343 pounds, and I do know that most of that was likely just water weight and my body just getting rid of all of the sodium and things I had been holding on to from just eating terribly up until that point. But yeah, you will definitely lose the most amount of weight like right in the beginning, because your body is just kind of goes into shock almost whenever you change your lifestyle, which that's something we'll get into later. But yeah, once you start making changes and doing things to start losing weight, a lot of times your body responds right away by just releasing a lot of water weight and stuff. And so it definitely feels great though to see that number like immediately go down. I will say if you're smaller, you may not obviously lose 20 pounds the first month. That's not realistic, but I know I've seen a lot of people lose a good amount of weight their first month, even people who are starting at a lower weight themselves. So yeah, but it definitely slows down. I would say probably towards the middle of the year, and then for the rest of the year I started kind of ranging between anywhere from like 5 to 7-ish pounds a month on average for my weight loss, and I feel like that's good. Like that's a good solid number. And but also in the same respect, everyone is different. So I've seen a lot of people talk about how they are slow responders to the medication, like meaning they don't lose weight as quickly while on the medication as maybe some other people do. And so again, everyone is different, but my experience, I would say definitely the weight came off super quickly in the beginning, and then it's just kind of slowed since then. I've still been steadily losing. For number 4, so you want to be sure you are taking some form of prophylactic, either fiber supplement or some type of Metamucil or something to keep your GI tract moving, because when I tell you, like, the constipation you can get, especially once you start getting onto the higher doses of the medication, it is can be extremely uncomfortable. And so you don't want to let it get to that point where you are in a lot of pain. Really try to take something every day to just kind of help prevent that. It'll still probably happen at times, and so you want to make sure you have like stool softeners, laxatives on hand to use just kind of as needed for those times, because it can be extremely uncomfortable. Also, I highly recommend finding some type of electrolyte supplement to take every day. It is super easy to become dehydrated on GLP-1 medications, so you want to be sure you are drinking water. But also, if you do not drink enough water, you don't love water, be sure to add electrolytes regardless, because they just help to absorb more water in your body, basically just the salts and things in it. And so the ones that I have really liked thus far, I've really liked the Drip Drop brand, the zero sugar, those are good. And then I really like the Ghost electrolytes. I didn't know they had electrolytes until like here kind of recently, but I really like, they have a ocean water flavor, and I'm currently using the cherry limeade flavor, but those are really good. And I like to mix mine with a mini Gatorade Zero because honestly I don't like the taste of electrolytes like just in plain water, but I do tolerate it well with the Gatorade Zero, so that is another tip. For number 5, I highly recommend trying to stay on the lowest dose possible for the longest amount of time possible. You definitely don't want to just zoom through the doses. So when you start out on a GLP-1, you do start at what they call like a loading dose, and basically it's a dose that is technically not effective or in the effective range of doses, but it is just kind of prepping the medication in your body essentially to then move up to the other doses. The loading dose for tirzepatide is 2.5 milligrams, and I stayed on that for, I want to say, at least the first 3 months, and I lost a good amount of weight. I actually have a little calendar where I wrote down how much I lost each month, but yeah, I lost 26 pounds the first month, 8 pounds the next month, and 14 pounds on the third month, and that was all while I was on the loading dose of 2.5. I really tried to stay on it as long as I could. I decided to increase it once I just noticed that I was having increased food noise to a point where I felt like I was turning towards snacking more and just like wanting to eat more. Also, I noticed that my weight was kind of stalling for a couple weeks as well, and at that point I decided to increase it. I currently am on the 7.5 milligram dose. So you go on tirzepatide. It's different for semaglutide or Ozempic, but for the tirzepatide you start at 2.5, then you move to 5, and then 7.5, and then 10, and then 12.5, and then the highest dose you can go on is 15 milligrams. And so you just want to kind of keep in mind that once you max out at 15 milligrams, like there's no going up. So really take your time and try to stay on the lowest dose for as long as you can. And also keep in mind that I'm not sure how it works for every single company that makes these meds, but I know at least where I get my medication from my doctor, the pharmacy they use, the price does increase as you increase the dose. So that's also something to keep in mind. If you're having to pay for it out of pocket, the price may go up the higher the dose you go on. So yeah, definitely take your time. For number 6, people will sometimes feel differently about you when you tell them you lost the weight using a GLP-1 medication. I have had a few instances, mostly on the internet, where it seems like once people find out that I am taking a GLP-1 medication, all of a sudden they kind of act differently about it. Like, people are happy for you when they see that you are losing a lot of weight and, you know, taking care of yourself, but then you mention you're using medication and now all of a sudden people think, well, then you're not actually working for it, you're just shooting up Ozempic. So yeah, some people still don't understand, I guess, how the medication actually works, and therefore there's just this kind of idea that people who take GLP-1 medications aren't actually doing anything else to like lose the weight. Obviously that is not the truth, and so it can be annoying at times, but honestly I will say this journey is your own and you do not have to share it with anyone if you don't want to. Honestly, I did not start talking about my weight loss journey here on the internet until I was already a good 6 months into it, and even before that I really wasn't sharing the fact that I was on a GLP-1 medication with a ton of people. Like, obviously my family knew, my close friend knew, but other than that I really wasn't like broadcasting like, oh, I'm on Monjaro to the world, just because it was something I not necessarily was ashamed of, but I just didn't want to feel judged for either. And people do judge, you know, that's just the truth. People will judge you once they find out you are using these medications, and honestly though, it doesn't matter. And I feel like eventually I did get to a point once I got to a certain point in my weight loss journey where I was feeling more confident and feeling better, and I had lost a good amount of weight, then is when I decided that I did want to talk about it and share it. And if you do want to talk about it and share it on the internet, then you should feel free to do so, and don't worry about what negative people might have to say, because honestly it doesn't really matter. Just again, something to keep in mind, you don't have to tell the world you're on a GLP-1 if you don't want to. The last thing on my list of things I've learned in this past year taking tirzepatide is that it is not a magic bullet, and you 100% still have to put in the work to lose the weight. And again, I feel like there's a common misconception amongst people that they just think you just take this medicine and you're gonna automatically lose weight, and that's not the case. You definitely have to change your lifestyle. You definitely have to be in a calorie deficit for starters. Now, there are a million ways to go about being in a calorie deficit, but at the end of the day, to lose weight, your body physically needs to take in less calories than it is burning in a day. And so that's the basics. And also, working out does help. I personally started going to the gym. I started out just going 3 days a week in the very beginning, and then I upped it. I'm going 5 days a week now, and that I feel has definitely helped, especially weight training. I think building muscle, like lean muscle, has really helped me in not just like feeling better about my physical body and how it looks, but also I feel like it's helped me mentally just feel more confident. Also, muscle burns more calories than fat at rest, so if you can build muscle, your body will naturally be burning more calories throughout the day, even when you're not working out. So something to keep in mind. Personally, I do cardio, 30 minutes of cardio 5 days a week, and then I add my weight training 3 days a week, and that has worked really well for me, and I've gotten some really great results from that. So definitely recommend it. But you know, start where you're at. Like, you don't have to be a bodybuilder right off the bat. You don't even have to go to the gym right off the bat. If you just try to get more physical movement in your day somehow, it's definitely gonna help. And I will say, the larger you are, the easier it will be to see your weight come off with small changes. It doesn't take a lot. And I'm saying this as somebody who started at over 340 pounds. Like, I started going to the gym right off the bat, and I think that also is what contributed to me losing such a large amount of weight that first month, because I did make some pretty dramatic changes from what I was doing previously, which was nothing. But you definitely don't have to do that. You can do small things and still get really great results. So yeah, just start where you're at. So yeah, that is gonna wrap it up for this list of things I've learned this past year on tirzepatide. For any of you who are just starting out on your journeys, I really wish you the best of luck. I think that this medication has been a game changer for so many people, and it's just wonderful that we live in a time. What a time to be alive, am I right? Like, yeah. I think that the things they're doing with science and medicine in the weight loss field these days is just amazing. And I saw something on the news. It said that the overall obesity rate for America has gone down for the first time in like 20 years or something crazy like that. And they think a lot of it is due to these GLP-1 medications, and a lot of people are getting on them. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful that people are finally finding something that is working. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, but if you have not subscribed yet, please consider. We are a growing family here on YouTube. I also have a TikTok, which I have linked down below if you want to follow me over there. I share my weight loss content over there as well. So anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all for watching as always, and if you made it this far, I am gonna do an emoji. If you made it this far, are gonna do an injection or shot, whatever you call it. We're gonna do a syringe. So yeah, leave that in the comments to let me know. And other than that, guys, I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all in my next one.